It's that time of the week again, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for some more Pro League. And today's a very special day because today Moonglade is back in Korea and he will be joining me today.
I'm back, man. I'm so happy to be back finally. I got to miss the first couple of weeks of Pro League, but man, it was a great couple of weeks as well. I got to watch it all from Australia and so happy to be here to cast this week.
Well, you've come for a great match today. We're starting things off with Jin Air Green Wings versus StarTale and Life versus Maru for the first opening match.
Could not be better, man. What a sick matchup.
I just want to say this one more time. Life versus Maru for the opening match. Get out there and spread the word about this because I'm not sure so many people out there actually know that this is going to be the starting match today. We're starting things off with a really big bang today.
You know, it could actually be the best match of the day. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, these two titans doing so well for their race. Obviously, Life, last year's world champion, and Maru always on top of the Terran ladder.
Yeah. I mean, these two are clear champions. You know, they are clear favorites, you know, for their teams. They're often the ace players for their teams, and they're both coming out on this first map and to take that momentum.
Yeah, and they're so good at this matchup as well. You know, like everything is just adding up to be such a great match, such a great starting game, and a great planned match at that as well.
Well, let's take a look at Jin Air Green Wings. They're 2-1 with a massive +5 indicators. So the maps that they won, the days that they won, they had great indicators. And looking at YOE here, they're 2-1. Look at the difference here. Their indicator is a flat 0. That's the difference in how convincingly Jin Air has been winning their matches. With that +5, it's a 5-point difference for two teams that have the exact same point score. That's insane.
Yeah, that is really insane. You know what? Those StarTale-yoe have been doing very well for themselves so far. They're definitely one of those teams that looks weaker compared to the Kesper teams out there. Obviously, naturally, we will think that. But no, I think they have a chance to do well today. And overall in the league, I think they can make it, man.
They certainly have been snowballing things quite nicely. Looking at Leanox play, Curious not having the best record just yet, but showing some insanely good play as well. They've got Life. You know, they can always rely on players like Hack, for example, in a pinch when they need him, depending on how the map list is. You know, there's a shot of Alive there on the right side of the screen as well. Somebody that we could be seeing a little bit more of.
Yeah, he might get to play today. I think he plays in the 4th match today, I believe.
Yes, if we go to that, he will. You can see Symbol over there on the left side as well as Cure of our top Jin Air players. And then Rogue. On the right side of things, you guys can see San. Someone's been struggling a little bit in the individual leagues, but looking great in Pro League. And Leanox recently trying to pick up some girls. See if he can pick up some Pro League points.
Well, you know, he's doing pretty well for himself so far in Pro League. He has been playing very convincingly against Protoss above all else.
And Legend has put him out on some really good maps for ZVP for his style, so that's really suited him quite well, including Sejong Station that we see as his map today. Before that, of course, Life versus Maru will happen on Foxtrot Labs, so a lot of aggression I think we're going to be seeing on that third base. A lot of pressure.
So. It's going to be very interesting. I think spawns are going to be a very important role to play on that map, especially in this matchup. And yeah, Cure versus San is 3rd on Deadwing. And then Trap versus Alive. Now, that'd be interesting because we have not seen Alive for a long time.
Yeah, Alive and Trap both kind of been in the shadows on the back door for these two teams as some, a solid, I guess you could call him a mid-tier player for both teams.
I could agree with. Yeah, well, definitely lower on the ranks. Obviously, that's why they get that 4th position.
Right, exactly. And for Merry-Go-Round, it's a fair map for pretty much all matchups. So I like the choice to put them out here. It's just kind of like this guy will steal the deal or will ace it because we've got so many good ace players to choose from. Now, CJ Intis is leading the charge insanely right now, the only team to have a perfect score of 3-0. And with a +5 indicator, it shows again that even though Jin Air is 2-1, they still have the same indicator as a team who hasn't dropped a single set.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Just Jin Air, obviously, with their wins, have been taking them very convincingly, and CJ kind of struggling over the line, but claiming all those 3 wins.
Yeah. And looking at Primed out in the bottom, they'll be playing against SKT a little bit later. A really important win for SKT if they want to pass Jin Air, who've been their rivals this season. I guess when it comes to points, those 3 teams up at the top. But StarTale, with a win today as well, would advance up to 2nd place. Just something to keep in mind. Prime really needs a win. To go 0-4, they're certainly not going to make it to the playoffs.
Well,
and
man,
they're basically just going to be a laughing stock of the league.
Oh, whoa.
I mean,
yeah, well, I mean,
that's what everyone's going to say.
I mean, this is kind of expected from Prime. They obviously struggled very hard last year, and they did take a lot of hits coming into this year, losing a lot of their good players, including Marine King. So
it's a rough time for Prime, man.
And I mean, up against SKT, I mean, what can you really expect? It's going to be a hard one.
Well, as you guys can see, the winners ranking is pretty underdeveloped just yet because we don't have that many games. I mean, the top winner is Innovation here, who has a perfect score, but he's still tied with Bill, Dark, and Zest, all for 3 wins. As you can see, they've actually been fielded more than he has, perhaps coming out more than he has, because that includes ace matches as well. But you can see Son with a perfect record. He's playing a little bit later today. Lenok with that perfect record you were talking about. So just looking at some of our top players, nobody really crazy in this list jumps out to me, except Deer, perhaps, as being 2-0. That might surprise a lot of people because Samsung hasn't been doing very well, but Deer has.
Well, Lenok obviously getting 2-0 is also pretty impressive. This guy didn't have much of a presence last year. He's kind of been off the radar for quite a while, and now to come into this new year and go for it's great.
Well, here's IUL for this coach interview. She's dyed her hair back to black. Looks very good. And we're going to be hearing from these two coaches, starting things off with the Jin Air coach.
오늘 첫 번째 경기에 굉장히 많은 관심을 받고 있잖아요. 조성주 선수는
So everyone's hyped about the first match today.
개인 리그 우승 후보로 꼽을 만큼 강력한 테란이에요. 근데 이번 시즌 저그전에서
you're one of the favorites to win.
약간 저그전에 트라우마가 생기진 않았을까요?
Talking about Jin Air here.
네, 뭐 그런 건 없고요. 연습 때 뭐 워낙 잘하고 있고 또 그 경기는
Maru's doing well recently.
플레이에 선수가 말리면서 졌기 때문에 뭐 크게 연연하고
And he doesn't have any problems with Zergs, like some people actually are saying that he does, but he actually does
오늘
not.
동갑내기 라이벌인 이승현 선수를
Squashing those rumors.
꺾고 승리를 거둘 수 있을까요?
네, 이기라고 내보냈고요. 준비도 많이 했기 때문에 오늘 꼭 이길 수 있을 것 같습니다.
So they sent him out to win against Life. He prepared really well for today's match. And they think he's going to achieve his goal. The coach is feeling pretty confident about that.
저번에 삼성을 닭으로 비유를 하셨잖아요.
Now hearing from Legend, the
어떤 동물로
StarTale-yoe
비유할 수
coach.
있을까요?
진에어 팀 같은 경우는 엔트리가
So,
워낙 강력하기 때문에 거의
Legend compared
오,
Samsung to a cow last match they played, and he says, "Well, what animal do you compare Jin Air to?" And he says it's like a lion.
이번에도 저희가 정신 차리고
So even if you go into the cave of a lion, if you stay focused, you can do well. So he feels pretty confident about today's matches.
I don't know about that, man.
He's like getting pretty metaphorical on us right now. I'm like, well, it's the year of the sheep.
저희는 돼지 팀이기 때문에.
Well, what animal do you think StarTale is?
돼지가 약간
The
좀
pig.
좀 그러지 않을까요?
돼지가
He's like,
조금
'cause we're gonna get all
약한
that
동물이라고 사람들이 알고
Piggy bank.
있는데
They're gonna get eaten.
뭐 저희 팀 같은 경우에 동영이나 영일이 같은
Yeah, I wonder
경우에
actually what he has to say
보더라도
about that.
그 선수들이 뭐 돼지라고
So he's saying-
표현하기에는 좀 그렇지만 밀치기 한 방으로 그냥 오늘
Even though they think pig is a weak animal, you can look at Lenok and Hack. They look like pigs actually, but they're really strong players.
강한
That's kinda
몸집으로
rude.
한 방에 밀쳐버리겠다.
Well,
네.
I'm like
Damn.
네, 멋진
T/N in
돼지의
Korean
활약
culture, it's
기대해보도록
much more common to
하겠습니다.
actually talk about people's physical
오늘
appearances,
이병렬 선수가
even on TV.
이병렬 선수가 요즘
Guess they're like a boar or something.
Yeah, I think
Big tusks.
Yeah, I
네,
think
많은
that like that
분들께서
might have been the better metaphor.
Something
here.
you'd find in Australia in the outback.
Right.
Yeah.
Something a bit dangerous. You don't want to run into that in the jungle.
나오지 않나? 그러면 이번 시즌
So even though Rogue is doing well in the
걱정을
individual
하시는
leagues,
분들도 계세요.
네.
the fans are feeling like he might not be doing so well coming up here in Pro League.
팀은 워낙
I just asked him what he thinks about that.
좋다고 생각하기 때문에 또 주전 경쟁이 좀 심해요. 또 심하고 또 장점은 상대 팀에 맞춰서 선수를 기용할 수 있기 때문에 이번에
So they have a lot of strong players,
저그가 많기 때문에
and they have a lot of players they send out based on their opponents.
뺀 거기 때문에 그런 걱정은 안 하셔도 될 것 같아요.
So Rogue
네,
basically may or may not play in Pro League.
제가
he still has confidence in Rogue for Pro League.
지켜봤는데요.
But I guess just saving him for now, making just making sure they can make the safest choices. Interesting they use Trap instead of Rogue.
Yeah.
He said earlier that he was saving Rogue because he didn't want to show his builds for the upcoming GSL, so that may be another reason why they didn't use him before.
Yeah, that is smart.
말인가요? 망치를 왜 갖고 하시는 거죠?
선수들이
So
뭐
the players say
저한테
Legend
매일
carries a
뭐
hammer
감독님 밤에
while he
어디
watches
나가시냐고
the
매일
players
물어요.
practice.
네, 어딜
물어봐요.
그렇게 나가시는 거예요? 그 제보를
근데-
너무 많이 받았어요.
In the
그
sense that
연습할
he will
때
hit
제가
them
좀
if
애들
they make
돼지
mistakes, I
기르듯이
suppose.
조금 막 기르거든요. 그래서 망치로
He says
애들이 너무 까불기도 해서 망치를 놓은 이유로 애들이
he says
좀 까부는 게 덜해졌어요.
so we don't have any Korean audio, but
밤에 매일 나가는
he's saying the
거는
players
밤에
practice
잘 때
better when he carries the hammer around with him.
제 신변의 위협을
He doesn't actually really have to
그것
use
때문에
it.
나가는 거지. 뭐
왜 위협을 느끼는
But he
거죠?
feels like he's actually like a farmer that farms pigs. He's got to threaten to hit him.
매일 넣었었는데 자기는
Gives them that feeling to be motivated to practice harder. So we've got a translation feed today. We don't have any Korean audio, that's why we got a bit of delays on this one.
매일 쓰니까 원표가 저를 밤에 습격하지 않을까 싶어서 밤에 나가는 겁니다.
Sounds like a pretty rough house, man.
Yeah,
나간다고 하시고
I'm like, I wouldn't want to work under this guy. I'm like, this is like George Orwell's Animal Farm or something, man.
있으면은 엔트리 같은 거 혼자 저는
Legends like the B teamers are actually worms, but like they can be useful to salvage the dirt. I'm like, Legends.
So I carry a hook around in case.
I carry a hook around in case I need to put them out as bait to train my A teamers.
한 8시간은 좀 아닌 것 같고요. 한 9시간 정도
So
있다 옵니다.
we have no audio right now, so I'm not sure what he's saying. Let me get some.
Probably some other animal, like, yeah, the.
Legends like saying some really controversial stuff we can't say on the stream, guys.
상승을 거두게 될까요?
I will put them down.
I actually have no idea what he just said.
정신이 혼미해졌습니다. 이 아이유 씨랑 이선종 감독의 이 합이 좀 잘 맞는
It's something about
것 같아요.
Legends smoking a lot, actually,
사전에 좀
due to
준비를
stress.
하고 있었던 것인지, 그리고 좀
And
좀 해석을
I've
해드리자면
noticed this as
동물비유했던
well.
것은 이제
Just becoming a head coach of a
삼성을
new
상대로
team
닭
isn't
잡는데 소 잡는
exciting,
칼 사용하지
but very
않는다고 했기 때문에
daunting
이제 동물로
task to
비유를
take
했던
on.
거고
Yeah,
아마 그
especially,
망치를 준다는 건 역시
I don't know if he's
뿅망치겠죠?
going about it the right way, carrying a hammer around and like calling people pigs and stuff. I mean, sure, it's his own style, and we'll have to wait and see if it's going to work. Obviously, the team's doing okay so far,
Right.
but it's kind of messed up. I didn't think I'd want to be in part of that environment.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can only hope that this is all just metaphors and jokes.
I hope so, Will.
And what he means by carrying a hammer around to make his players be motivated means that he's walking around and saying, you know, that was really good what you did there, but maybe you should do it something like this. Because maybe that's what's really going on. This is all just like really deep metaphors.
Maybe.
You know, because a hammer, you know, that is, I mean, like when I first heard him say it, I thought of like a wooden hammer from like Mario Brothers or something. But then I started thinking, I'm like, no, this is like, we're talking about potentially real hammers. That's really dangerous.
Well, like, that's just not going to help anyone, man. It's like, if he gets hit by a hammer, obviously he's going to get concussion. He's going to break a finger.
Yeah.
Count on me. Wow. That's kind of true. I mean, you can count on Maru to do pretty well. Though he's only 2-2 in Pro League this year.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the best versus Zerg record, but by the way, we finally have our ace match stats up on the screen, so that actually comes into play a lot.
Yeah.
Because how many ace matches you play in means how many really top-tier players you're going to be playing against. You're playing against the best Zerg on your opponent's team, not just anyone you hit up against on that map. Just like the situation we have today, where he plays against Life, you know?
Yeah, all right. So I got some stats here that are really relevant for this match. Obviously, IEM Taipei was qualified very recently, and we did see Maru absolutely crush Face, especially Zerg Face, beating the players just like Hyun, Life, Departure, and Rogue to get there very convincingly, very, very strong. He 2-0'd Life in that. So Life's coming into this off the back of a loss very recently.
Yeah. Definitely something to keep in mind. Now, Life here, as you can see, he doesn't have the best Pro League record so far. He's 6-7. He was playing on that Stim team before, the partnership with IEM. And, you know, he's 4-4 versus Terran. Only 1-2 this season. Hasn't been the best season for him yet.
Not yet. It's still early days, though,
Yeah.
so we cannot count him out just yet, Wolf. And he does have amazing ZVT.
Right, and most people are saying this guy is the best Zerg player in the world right now.
Certainly last year, he did claim that world champion title, let's never forget. So he definitely has what it takes. It just has to be one of those days.
It has to be one of those days, Moonglade. I feel like this match could go either way. It's a really, really tough one to call. And the map is Foxtrot. Like you said, spawning locations are going to be very important. Looks like everyone's in the lobby. We're all ready here. Let's go into game number 1. Jin Air versus StarTale. Alrighty, Pro League fans, it's starting off here with Maru for Jin Air Green Wings on the bottom right in the red, and to the top left in blue, it is Life. The Zergling, as they call him.
Do they actually call him the Zergling?
A lot of Koreans did, especially during his prime. Even like in 2012, people were calling him the Zergling.
Well, I guess like he's definitely known for his Zerglings, his run by. He's when he gets speedlings, like he's become such a dangerous player. And so it kind of makes a lot of sense. And he is very young and small, so I kind of agree with this.
Well, Moonglade, why don't you tell us what you feel about these spawning locations going to this one for life on this map?
Well, for a Zerg player, these positions are kind of gross because as you see that third base, the closest third base is the gold. And, I mean, when these positions too, like if the Zerg was to take the gold base, it can get sieged very, very easily from behind because, I mean, there's a ramp right behind the gold. So, like, you don't even need tanks to siege it. You just need to put Marines down there. And it's such a hard place to fight because once Widow Mines are in position, once Medivac Marines, it'll spread out nice. It becomes a very cost-inefficient fight. And the next problem is Terran can take their third a lot easier, and it's a lot harder for Zerg to kind of do the same thing to Terran. So it can be kind of gross in the mid-game. If that third base gets up and running at the gold, we'll have to wait and see what Life is going to do on this map in these positions. Is he going to go for that kind of super aggressive style and make sure it doesn't get that third base in time? Or is he going to try for the late game and just weather the storm?
Indeed. That's basically what we're going to have to wait and see here. You're talking about the gold base being so easily attacked because of that ramp. That's a really good point. I mean, just at the simplest level, that gold base has mineral patches that are exposed. So any ranged unit, which is every unit the Terran has, can really abuse that fact, and it's hard to defend that base. We do have a delayed gas here from Maru. Not the fastest gas ever, so he can't get a Reaper right away, but he's going to get a faster CC as a result.
Yeah, and another thing to note in these positions is also the fourth base is ridiculously hard to also hold as a Zerg player because they're very far away. I mean, obviously, if you're going to try and avoid getting for the gold base, you're going to go for that further away, like south of life space, which is very, very easy for a Terran to kind of parade push.
Yeah, and the rush distance on this map is actually misleading when you just look at the minimap. It's really not that far to that base for the Terran to just walk across and attack you.
Yeah, absolutely right. It can be a very difficult map indeed.
So he's actually cut everything. He didn't make a Reaper or a Marine. He just used that delayed gas to get his reactor up with a faster CC. And, he's just going to tight wall this. He comes over. He's going to even fake bunker, but there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing coming.
Yeah,
trying to force some extra links here.
Well, I guess he's getting 4 links, so this is kind of the standard in today's meta. I mean, you want at least 4 links to deal with any sort of Reaper harassment early on. It's enough to kind of push them back. And obviously there's no Marine down here shooting the hatchery, so Life knows, okay, it's nothing to really panic about. I just need to make Zerglings, and that's all he's doing.
Yeah. He only made, 1 larva worth of extra to 6 here, which some Zergs will do anyways to try to pressure the CC. So nothing too annoying. He has a fast link speed out, so he's going to be able to move around the map with that coming up pretty soon as well. And back at Maru's base, he's just transitioning standard into those Hellions, going to pressure a little bit with those, move across the map, poke some tumors.
Yeah, he went for those, obviously that fast reactor to get more Marines out in time, so he's going to have a nice bunker placement in due time, ready for any sort of speedling harassment, I'm sure. And he's going to get those Hellions out just a little bit earlier than normal, which is going to help him, take map control back. And obviously you want to have a decent Hellion count against Life of all players because he does get those speedlings out, and he is very, very efficient with those counterattacks.
Yeah, Life knowing that without speed, just even with 6 lings against 4 Marines, you've seen Maru's micro before, he's the Marine Prince after all, just not worth darting in and trying to attack that. If he can come over here and find a Mule, come here and find a stray SCV, that might be something he can accomplish. Notice his micro here, he pulls back the weakened Zergling, and he's just trying to find an opening, trying to find a scout here. And once the Hellions come out, his speed will be done. It just finished, as you guys could see. So he's going to be able to escape easily there. He's just droning up quite heavily back at home.
And I think we are going to see quite possibly... Well, we don't see an armory just yet, but we do see the starport finishing. No tech lab, so it's going to be a fast medivac. I wonder, are we going to see Hellion drops?
Yeah, it starts to seem like we might, with even maybe a Widowmine sprinkled in to help out, because he is making that right now. And since, like you said, the Hellions are a little bit faster, you could definitely get a higher count and keep the focus at the front, and then come into the back and really surprise Life here.
Yeah, I guess... Okay, we're going to see more Hellions now. So 1 Widowmine. Still no armory either, so no Hellbats anytime soon. Could just be a very, very fast kind of Marine drop with Widowmine. Yeah, we've seen that before.
Life keeps checking with that 1 Zergling at the front, too, if he can get any idea what the comp is going to be. See if he can find a medevac, because he still has no idea that this is coming just yet. And it's on a path that I believe a Zergling just saw, so he knows what's coming now.
I think he has a fair idea it's coming in. His Zergling has seen it for sure. Going to have to be careful of that Hellion run by into the natural. 3 Hellions is enough to kill a drone in one shot. So if they line up, you can do some critical damage.
Yeah. Well, this is totally scouted. And at this point, he's even got an Overseer finishing up here to help deal with that Widow Mine. This shouldn't get a ton of damage done with the drop, but like you said, the Hellions are the bigger concern. If he brings all of his Lings into the main, he could have some problems. He just made a ton of them.
This could be tricky.
Okay, Widow Mine goes down here. Already a ton of Marines here. Good splits on the drones. Not a ton of damage done just yet. 3 drones. The Hellions actually now heading towards a natural as well. This is a lot of Queens. And he doesn't actually send the Hellions in. He's a bit timid about that because of that Spine.
Spine and those Zerglings really waiting to buffer. If those Hellions try and get in, he will block them. So really nicely handled by Life. I mean, getting those Queens up into the main base was more than enough to deal with Marines that have no stim. Well, 6 Marines. And a Widow Mine that already had it shot. So not really much damage at all. Very, very effectively done by Life.
But what do you think about this approach of just taking a delayed third? Because, you know, we talked about this map, how it's so hard to hold a third. What he's done here, instead of trying to rush that third out greedily, which would have been pressured so hard by all that those attacks that we just saw, instead he's rushed out a Spire here. So he's going to have Mutalisk out really early to help deter these drops.
Yeah, I like this style a lot more these days. I mean, there's so much aggression we're seeing from Terrence on 2 base, Hellbat, or the likes of this kind of drop. And we see Sulky kind of led the way with this style, with a lot of 2-base meter going into that delayed third base. And I think it's fantastic for the current meta. And a perfect surround on the Hellions.
This really hurts. That shuts down all the pressure Maru was going to have. I mean, he only had a few more seconds of really being out on the map anyways, with the Mutalisk popping out here. But now he doesn't even have that. Yeah. These Lings are even going to come over here and trade with some of these Marines, forcing a lift there.
So no stim just yet either, but those 3 medivacs would have been more than enough to help Marines kill those Zerglings. But it really opens the map up again to Life. And now that he's going to have Mutas as well, he's going to gain a lot of map control. He's going to the Speed Banes a little bit late, and obviously much later upgrades. But so is Maru, because he did go for that 2-base timing.
Yeah. You know, no Banelings out on the map just yet. 5 of them morphing right now. And Maru does have a really healthy work count, actually, compared to Life. You know, with Life just on 2 hatch, down at 49 drones. So he's going to want to make some more of those once that third base actually finishes up here. Stim now complete as well. And it looks like he just wants to hit that third base pretty hard here before Baneling speed is done. Hellbat's leading the charge here at the front. That tankiness, wipe out those Speedlings. Yeah, okay, Stims.
He's going to try. I don't know how much he can actually get done, because with 5 Banes, even off creep at this point, not enough really Zerglings buffering them, but should be enough eventually.
Yeah, especially with the Mutalisk coming back here as well. These units are just streaming in now too little too late. Those 2 Hellions pretty cute at the back, but not going to get anything done. And Maru gets shut down hard here, and he loses those expensive medevacs, losing that Hellion as well. Next wave comes through here. There's no Banelings just yet, but he's going to have plenty of time to morph those. His creep spread is now completely connected to that third base. And Maru's in a bit of a tough spot because he doesn't have a third CC.
It was really well read by Life. The fact that he didn't drone too hard on that third base, he made sure he had more than enough Zerglings, Banelings, and Mutas out to kind of deal with this parade push. And we are finally seeing the third CC go down for Maru, so it is very, very delayed. So Maru really has to kind of find damage with this. Yeah. I think he's kind of lost. He's just simply he's out of time with it, and it just got fought back too convincingly.
Yeah, he really. I mean, he's losing time here for efficiency with this comp. You know, he's got just 4 medevacs on the map. Baneling speed being done. You know, he doesn't have an upgrade lead. He'll lose perhaps a Hellbat. Very carefully saved there. Good splits against these Banes, but again, he gets pushed back, and this gives Life more time.
Yeah, I'm not really liking these engagements without any sort of Zerglings to buffer. It should still be more than enough. You never really want to use Banelings just by themselves like that, because they can get kited, split up, and killed very, very quickly.
Maru getting a good position over here in between these bases, but there's just so much creep here for Life. And looks like he might finally try to get those Lings to the buffer. Great pre-splitting here, though, by Maru. And there go the Banes. This is just enough Zerg to push this back time and time again. The Widow Mine's late to the party. Even saves those Mutalisks, and now they're coming over, killing medevacs for free.
Yeah, really nice timing. Life knew he had a little window with 1-1 just finished, and Maru's was not. So he had the upgrade advantage of 2. And from there, I mean, he just took that perfect fight. So once again, Life on top of this, man.
And not even to forget, Life right now has +1 for his Mutalisk and +2 halfway done. He's killing Widow Mines for free. He's totally controlled this game. This game almost looks like it's already over, Moonglade.
Yeah, I mean, if he makes... I think he's going to have to wait for Banelings before he actually sieges the base with that bunker in position, but I think he's he's primed to just take this game in this next attack.
I mean, Maru is trying 2-2 right now, but look at his face. I mean, he knows this game is essentially lost.
Look at these morphing Banelings. He's just putting him everywhere.
Yeah, this is basically troll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Manor Banes, and here he goes. He's got a tight wall here around that bunker. Banelings do not care. Busting through here. A few Widow Mines. Going to kill a few Zerglings, but not the best hits there. And oh god, Moonway, this is what a Zerg loves to see.
So much damage. Every SCV getting wiped out in that natural. He's going for that third CC, but he's not getting it. The repairs are good, and so Life's going to have to sit back for just a little while longer.
Yeah, but the next wave may just be enough. He doesn't even have that many Banelings. I don't think he really needs them. And he's just going to crush through this. Too much damage being done here. The SCVs start to fall. The Medivacs as well. Cannot afford this. And he's not going to be able to save the CCs this time.
Yeah, basically, Zerg wants to get on top of that production line, so every Marine that comes out gets killed instantly. And from there, GG.
GG.
Really nicely played from Life. He kind of read Maru like a book. He knew exactly what he had planned. And he made everything he needed to in time to kind of crush it.
Very impressive play by Life there.
And what a great start to the day for StarTale-yoe.
I would really just say it was just a great read on Maru's style and how he likes to play the map. Good preparation, and just like you said, not over-droning at the third base, saving that until he was secure, getting that Spire out on 2 base, and then also taking very confident engagements, even sometimes without Speedlings. Picked off a ton of Medivacs as well, making it much harder for Maru to engage.
I absolutely loved his 1-1 attack onto Maru's army. He was like, Maru was seconds away from getting his 1-1 as well. Should have made the fight a lot more even, but Life knew his advantage, he knew his timing, and he went for it. Completely crushed that army and secured the game.
Well, Maru having a little chat here with the generic coach.